Hey everyone, this is Pig for Life. In today's P4L review, we'll be taking another early look at a pre-production sample from Fans Toys. This time it's their FT-14 Forager, their version of an MP Insecticon Kickback. So let's go ahead and get started with some disclaimers. Again, as a pre-production sample, this is not a final version of this figure and is likely to see some changes or modifications before we get to see it released to retail in June of 2016. It was delayed from March to June, just to let you guys know. So any things that we comment on today are really just with a grain of salt until the actual figure comes out in June. All right? So let's go ahead and get started. Just talk about what he comes with as far as what we got for our pre-production sample. So we have the bot himself. We have his chromed out gun that he's holding right there. We do have a translucent chest piece, alternate chest piece, so we've been getting that with all of their bugs so far. An optional translucent piece to go with the yellow piece that comes stock. And then he also has an additional bombshell headpiece, head blaster, and this is actually made of diecast. A lot of people who had their grenadier or bombshell had problems with this breaking off, so this is actually diecast. It looks very much the same, but it does feel obviously a little bit sturdier being made of diecast. And it's a pretty easy installation. I'm not going to show that off today though. Alright, so with that said, that's really it that we got. We can probably assume that you're going to get those Energon cubes that came with the other figures, the small purple ones. But other than that, I think that's all you're really going to get with this figure. So we'll see. So let's go ahead and get on with robot mode review. And as you can see, he does hold his gun very well. It is a really nice looking figure. I think this is easily my favorite of the three from Fans Toys. If you've been following along, you can tell that you've been able to tell that I'm not enamored with this set of figures. I think they've been lacking something. And I think this is still pretty true with this robot mode. When we get through it, I'll talk about that in a bit. But overall, I think he is by far the best of the three. He feels just as sturdy, but I think his proportions look a little bit more true to the character itself, not overly stylized or heroic proportions, which I disliked with the other bots. But also, I think he just really does evoke the look of Kickback, especially with the face sculpt and so forth. And in both modes, he looks quite good. So as far as robot mode goes, he does have his little blaster, does have the MP style pegs that go into his hands as usual in here, and he holds it pretty well. I wish the tabs were a little bit tighter and a little bit longer, but they do work fairly well. But you will need to work in conjunction with the hand, especially because of the way this gun is designed. You have to actually put it in and close the hand around it, but it holds it fine. For the rest of the review, let's first go into articulation. His head is actually on a ball joint inside the base here, not going into the face itself, and that's because of the way that they designed the face changing gimmick, which I'm struggling with right there. So you actually do get a ball joint on the head. It's just that it's very hard to pose up and down. But you do get that bobble. You can go around, no interference there. He has nice rubbery, soft plastic antenna, which I actually like. Some people are complaining about that, but I kind of like it. I think these are pretty cool. He does have an alternate face, but it's really for transformation, so we'll get into that a little bit later. His wings are nice and chromed. They do move a little bit, but the way they're designed, they come apart a lot. And I don't love the way that they designed this, and I'll talk about this in a little bit as well. But these pieces are so thin that it's prone to breakages, and I actually broke part of this one deep down in here on the inside part of this, and that's because the way this figure is designed and the way the transformation is designed puts a lot of pressure on this really thin piece, and I'm going to imagine there are going to be a lot of breakages. I'm hoping that's why they've delayed it to fix this or remold this into something else that would be much better. As far as shoulder articulation, you can go around out like this. It does look kind of a little goofy. He does have a bicep swivel. He does have double jointed elbows, and then he has a regular style MP hand. just the four fingers molded together in one piece, no thumb articulation, and a swivel there. His wings, as well as going around, can angle out here if you want at the wings. What else is going on here? He doesn't have a ab crunch, he just has a swivel here. His legs can go out, and even though most of his leg is die cast, he holds up the leg very, very well and backwards. Thigh swivel coming out almost to 90 degrees. He does have double knee joint. No knee swivel, but he does have that thigh swivel. On the foot, he does have toe. Doesn't really have heel per se, because his alt mode leg makes up his heel, but I guess you can say that this articulates a bit. Not really. He does have this whole foot piece that does swivel. It's very tight, but you can see it does swivel down like that at the ankle, and that's separate from the toe. And then from there, you also get a toe tilt going this way. So it's very odd looking, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. What else does he have? I think that's really it for the articulation. You can see his back here. He also has his legs that are kind of positioned in whatever way you want. I looked at the photos online, and it looks like this is the way it's supposed to be positioned. There might actually be better ways based on what I've been fooling around with, but overall, very good looking bot mode. Again, probably my favorite of the group. And he just looks really nice. I always like Kickback, probably the best out of the group, I would say, just in terms of sure aesthetics. But let's go ahead and take a look with him. And I actually acquired a bag cube set not too long ago of bugs. You can see the differences there. They both have very similar looking features overall. But I think Fans Toys does a bit better in terms of the proportions. You can see his chest kind of sticks out pretty far. The back is much cleaner on bag cubes, and also I think the way they designed the legs and the knees are really ingenious here. So I would say he looks a bit better, but I think he's still designed a bit better. And I also think the proportions are, in terms of scale and height, the Insecticons were always supposed to be pretty tiny, like mini bots, but I actually don't like that scale, I guess. I think it would have been nice for them to be about this tall, which is good. Alright. So let's see, with his other buddies, there's Grenadier, the first release of the Insecticons, along with Mercenary, the second release. And they look really good together. The downside being his chest yellow is very different than these two. These two are pretty close, I would say. They have the more metallic look to it. So Grenadier is kind of out in the cold in terms of matching colors. But I actually prefer the translucent. I just went ahead and switched these so you guys can get a consistent look there. As always, I always like to show off what he looks like in terms of scale with MP10. And that's really it for comparisons. As far as the chest piece, I'll show how to install it after we get into alt mode, so that way you can see the translucent piece installed in both robot and alt modes. Alright, so let's go from robot to alt transformation. We're going to start off with the legs. The easiest thing to do is go ahead and extend these insect legs like so, and you're going to tuck in the toes, very simply. And then this entire shin, lower leg, is actually on a double hinge that's kind of hidden. What you're going to need to do, or the easiest way I found, is to grab the insect leg and pull up on that, and then that will release the double hinge and tab. Keep the entire leg straight, and then tab that back in, like so. Same thing on the other side, just grab that, pull that out, shift that up to the top, and you'll hear that definitive click. And then you can do with the insect legs whatever you'd like. The next thing we'll do is go ahead and pull this centerpiece. It's tabbed in at the back here, back of the head, and just going to peg into the back of the crotch. Actually, before you do that, you probably want to tuck in or tab in the gun handle like that. And that has a little tab here, which I don't feel is very well defined, but it at least guides it into place. And that's really it. And that looks pretty goofy, to be honest. We're just gonna ignore that. So the upper body is where it starts getting hairy, and where I think they could definitely use some extra engineering time to fix these problems. So the biggest problem is with these small hinge pieces that make up the circle of the wing piece. And it's just that these pieces are incredibly thin. They're pinned in and they're incredibly thin. And I broke one of these, and I don't consider myself a very ham-fisted transformer. I've never broken a figure before, as far as I can recall. That wasn't like a broken defective part. And so I broke this one on the second or so transformation. Anyway, so how this works is you need to actually slide this entire back piece out, very similar to how Bagcube did it, but not as well thought out. And actually, if you look at Bagcube's transformation, you can see that they do a very similar thing. You tilt this forward and the whole backpack slides out, but they kept a cut opening in there, and I always wondered why they did that. But now I know they probably couldn't figure out a good way to cover up that gap without causing any potential small fragile pieces. In any case, so how you do that is open up these two pieces as far as you can, and they are chrome too, so the plastic is even thinner than it even leads on. Rotate these forward so that this opening here aligns with the shoulder pieces. I'm doing this very carefully because of the fact I don't want to break this any more than I've already have. And once you have it this way, you're going to want to pull back, and there's a sliding joint near the base here, or near the bottom. You want to slide these pieces out. It might be easier to take one out at a time, so we'll just pull one out for now. And then this rotates out like this. Get these insect legs kind of out of the way for now. And from here, you're going to want to rotate on this swivel like so. You're going to get the double jointed elbows and position it like this, because this is going to all fold back up. Oh, no, sorry. Like this, because when you fold this back up, you're going to have this forearm piece looking like this when you slide that back in. So for now, let's just leave it like this in the ready position. Pull out this other half. Again, rotating this out, get the bug legs kind of out of the way. Swivel this around. Get the elbows bent. Get a position like so. And then again, get ready to swivel this all back in. So when you swivel this back in, remember you're going to have this piece facing out like that. And then this is where the problems arise. So once you start sliding this in, you can't actually slide it in all the way. The reason being is that here, I'm just swiveling these around now, these insect legs around now. The reason being is that when you come in, you actually need to come in partially. And then, so you can't just, when you slide it back in, this piece just sticks out, right? So what you actually need to do is slide it in halfway, close this partially, and then slide and close this simultaneously. And what this does is it actually applies pressure on this piece, which applies pressure on this hinge, which is just a thin piece on a hinge, on a pin. So that's what causes the problems. So just be very, very careful when you do this. Once you finally do that, you'll see this close up like so. And then you can get the insect legs positioned like this. So once again, on the other side, you're going to slide in partially, and then inject that piece. And then slowly close it up and allow this piece. Yeah, this is the broken piece. See, it's stressing it again. And that's just a really bad design. And then you can tuck these arms in, and you'll know this is the correct transformation because I've seen some other people transform it another way. The way you can tell this is the correct way is because it actually has little cutouts here at the bottom, which is going to be hard to see on camera, but those are made specifically for the elbow joints to slide in there. So this is definitely the correct transformation. Oops, sorry about that. Even without the instructions, I was able to figure that out. Swivel this around, swivel this around, and then you'll have the insect mode legs correct, and then you can do with the wings whatever you'd like, but again, be very careful in rotating that around because they are on such thin pieces. Lastly, we're going to go deal with the head. You're going to want to split the head open. You're going to tuck this in. Well, actually you should, I guess it doesn't really matter, but what you want to do is split open the head, the back half, and lift this up, and then you just want to push something through the back so that the new face comes out like this. Push the other face in and close it up. And now you have actually like a weird face mask face. And it's weird, one of the collectors that I showed this to said, why does it still have like a visor area here if it's just like a mask? I mean, it's cool that they have it, so I don't really care what it really looks like. It's much better than just the robot mode face kind of hanging out underneath. And there we have Forager in alt mode. And it's a really nice alt mode. It doesn't have any like of the cool gimmicks like the bag cube spring-loaded legs, which I actually really like. The legs here are a little bit better. We'll actually show off some comparisons in a little bit once I pause to get those transformed. But by and large, this looks like a really nice grasshopper alt mode. It has articulation here, pin joint here, and pin joint there. It still has that thigh swivel. This tail kind of just hangs out. Again, I wish it pegged in a little bit stronger than that. And also just get a little bit worried because you're going to have that running into the die-cast legs, which is probably going to do some chrome chipping. His wings, again, you can fold out however you would like, and you can rotate them pretty much 360, I think. Maybe not 360, but you can get as far as you would want in alt mode. Swivel here, pin joints here, here, and here, as well as the rotation at the shoulder, at the base, or I guess what kind of is the shoulder. And then again, the insect mode head does have that ball joint, which is kind of limited. It does have the hands hanging out here, which is fine. Some alternate transformations, which I know are the incorrect ones, kind of hide this a little bit better, but you may be damaging your figure by doing that incorrect transformation. Alright, so here we are with Forager on the left and Bag Cubes. I don't even know what his name is. Their Kickback on the right, and you can see this is their regular version, not the deluxe version with chrome and diecast. But you can see they both look pretty good. The chrome wings does obviously look a bit nicer than the silver painted ones, but that's personal preference. He does look a bit cleaner. He doesn't have some of this kibble here on the Bag Cube one. But overall, not a lot of big major differences. And Bag Cubes also has that little faceplate that hides the face. And then his buddies again. Here we go with all the robotic goodness here, or insecty goodness from Bad Cube. Not Bad Cube, from Fans Toys. Kickback is quite a bit longer. But by and large, these guys look really great together. And you can see I've already gone ahead and swapped out the chrome on this. Not the chrome, the translucent pieces on those. And I'll go ahead and show off how to do that right here. And it's the same as the others, you just have one tiny screw here. You're just going to go ahead and take a properly sized Phillips head, go ahead and unscrew that, and it's just a really long screw. It's like kind of a bar for the most part, like that. Pop this off, and a lot of Forager is die cast. Like most of the chest is die cast as well. I think most of the upper body is die cast there. You just want to plug this back in. Come on. See it wanting to go in. There we go. And you just screw this back in. And again, I like that they offer this. I prefer the translucent pieces, just because, especially because they match a lot better with each other than the gold does. I feel like that he is a little bit more orangey in his chest cover, but that might also just be the way he's currently being lit. But I think he's slightly more orangey, but it's very, very much more identical than the yellow pieces. So yeah, let's go ahead and get these guys out the way, and then transform him back and finish off with final thoughts. Why don't we just go ahead and take care of this, just because it's dangling. Just unplug that there. We'll go ahead and do the lower legs first, because they're a bit easier. Again, the easiest way I find is just go ahead and pull on the insect legs. Use that double hinge on the legs to come down. While you're here, since you're already down here, go ahead and pull those toes out. Come on. There we go. Tab that in. It's a blind tab, but you shouldn't have any problems getting that in. Pull that out. Get the toes out. Get that down. Tab that in definitively. Curl these up like so. And you can really put these however you'd like. I think they're supposed to be pushed up against the back of the leg for proper transformation. Then we're going to get back into the weird pieces. Before we do that, let's go ahead and curl both of these around. And they both have to basically turn 180. And I don't know what's going on here, but sometimes I have clearance issues and sometimes I don't with the insect legs, but just be careful when you do that. So they should be kind of pointing outwards like this. So once you have these insect legs done, what you're going to want to do to deal with these is rotate them down like this, and then you should be able to untab them slightly and then rotate this around like that, which will let you open up the entire thing. So just do that. Reach around in here, open this up gently all the way, and then rotate into place where the opening is right there. I'm just moving these insect legs out of the way so you can see a little bit better. Again, the opening will face straight towards the back. I find that pulling out the arms gives you a little bit more leverage. Once you do that, again, curling this open, swiveling around on this hinge. And here, this is where I'm not exactly sure how everything needs to curl up. I curl it up like this, just because I don't have instructions. It'll go like this, and then this will fold back like so. And so when this curls up, this piece will fold back like this. And I think this is correct based on the photos I've seen, the official photos I've seen. So that may or may not be right. Just bear with me since I don't have the instructions there. So again, on this side, same thing as well. Come around like that. Fold these forward and around, and this folds, kind of sits back on top like that. Get them around like this so that when you fold this in, looks like this. and then you can slide these back in. And again, you have to go partially in and then start closing this up. Just be very careful, once again, since you're closing this while sliding this in. I'm bracing this pin joint here because I really think that's not a good design. But once you have it enough, you can kind of curl this around and then close it up manually. Alright, so there's one side. Same thing on the other side. Just be very careful again. I'm going to brace here. Close it off. Yeah, with this piece, I really just don't know how it goes. Just leave it like that for now. And then the center piece is going to come up through this, through the gap that is formed and tab in there. With the head, we're going to do the same thing as before. We're going to split open. Actually, you don't need to do that this time. You're just going to open up like this, pull down on the face, tuck this in all the way, and then close up. And with that, you have Forager back in robot mode. So you have pretty easy transformation. It just gets a little complex in the backpack. Hopefully this will be a little bit more clear once we have instructions for this guy. My biggest thing is really the use of these thin pieces here. I feel like a swinging hinge door might have worked, but I'm trying to think whether that would have actually worked both ways. Like, so instead of hinging down like this, opening up like a door to swing out like that, I think that might be better, but I'd have to look at it a little bit more to see if that would work both ways for transformation. But yeah, that's really it for the review. I really like this guy as far as the overall design and aesthetics go. I think he's the best of the Fans toys, and I think he is actually a really good Transformer overall. I think this is probably the figure I would recommend the most out of the Fans Toys ones. My other feelings about the other insects from Fans Toys, like I said, I think they're a bit overrated and the engineering is not as good, but this guy's pretty solid overall. Not very much kibble. This is kind of a, I think they could have probably done a little bit more with the legs to hide it, but it's not bad at all. And the overall look looks really great. And I love the that chrome and the die cast that makes this guy really hefty and sturdy. I do hope they fix that though. That is a major issue and they need to resolve that at some point. Alright, so if you have any questions or comments or just want to say something to me, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. If you like this guy and you want to add him to your collection, you can click on the Toy Dojo link in the description below. And if this video has helped you at all, a like, share, or subscribe, and subscribe would always be appreciated. Alright, that's all for today everyone. Have a good one.